the Minister of Defense of that regime, who sent out a communique notifying the world that the Ambazonian people have aligned themselves with terrorists. That is why La République du Cameroon has been defeated. That is a bald-faced lie by a regime on its last legs, by rats who have been cornered, by a defeated people looking for explanations to explain away the excellence of our forces, the tremendous capacity in terms of sacrifice, in terms of resources that the Ambazonian people have been willing and able to bring to bear in order to stop genocide in the land of our birth. They are looking for every means to explain why their president, the head of the terrorist regime in Yaoundé, Mr. Pobia Bin Vodo, why his declaration of our defeat in weeks did not come to pass, and 4 years down the road, we are not only beating them, we are crushing them. From the first days, when at Bisongabang the guns of Ambazonia sounded, we never hid ourselves. We stood in front of the world. We were very clear about exercising the rights that every human being on earth is born with. The right to self-defense. A right invoked standing on pillars like the responsibility to protect, the right to self-determination, the insistence, both natural law and the laws by man, of every human being being equal. We were not shy. We did not hide our faces. We did not fight under different banners. We fought under a flag. We built an army. We clothed that army in the fatigues of a nation. And we deployed that army on the field, telling the world what that army was going to do. Defend and protect and wipe out the genocides from the land of our birth. That today they want to come and hoodwink the world that they are fighting a terrorist or terrorist affiliated group. It's nothing but the last kick of a dying horse. We are not going to be diverted from our aim. We are laser focused. Our gaze is sharp. Our sight is set. Boya will come rain, come high water. We will reach Boya. The terrorist regime has a decision to make. Do they want to withdraw from our land and save themselves, or do they want to keep lying to their people and to the world and for us to crush them? That's the decision they need to make. I know in certain quarters in Ambazonia, there has always been this unease and this question about whether we were going to be able to sustain this struggle, about whether we will defeat La République du Cameroon. We can defeat La République du Cameroon. About where are you fighting? Where are you in all of this? My fellow Ambalanders, our supporters, detractors, the enablers, and traitors, the Ambazonian Defense Forces, your defense forces, are stronger today, more entrenched than the Taliban were on the eve of the crumbling of the Afghan government, on the eve of the departure of the United States Army. When they informed the Afghan people and the world that the Afghan government was defeated, nobody believed them. Of course, they control no provinces on the eve of the departure of the American contingent forces. The Afghan government had forces and was exercising control at every level, in every space in Ambazonia, in Afghanistan. And so people might have been asking them, where are you? Where are you fighting? What do you have to show? But after the withdrawal of the Americans, hours, they moved from 0 control of capitals to 10. Within a day, they had captured almost the whole country. And it was clear how true the statement that the Afghan government, with its bloated army and sophisticated army, was defeated. We are in a stronger position today than they were. We control large swaths of areas in our land. The regime in Yaoundé is more decayed and corrupt and crumbling than that in Afghanistan. We just have to maintain the course and finish the job. I know we are tempted. We are often tempted to change strategy mid-stride, to win the battle of the hour, to win the informational war of the week. That's not a strategy for success for the long term. I want to reassure the Ambazonian people that we will win. We have won by maintaining our integrity of strategy, by making sure that when we doubt if the strategy is a winning strategy, we have brought in experts externally and consulted experts internally and re-strategize. We began this struggle by clearly laying out what we were going to do. We informed our people that we were going to drive up the cost of occupation, make our land ungovernable, and make sure that we internationalize the struggle. That brought us to a point where we discovered that the integrity of our strategy was compromised. And we re-strategized. We were nimble on our feet. What was that point? During the first year and a half in our revolution, we were very successful. And that success made us to make a headlong dash for Buea. You saw the tremendous gains we had in our Atlantic states, where we push the occupiers, push them until they were fighting tooth and nail, house to house, in Munya My 16 Moliko. Push them to the outskirts of Buea. That was occurring under the strategy we had put in place of increasing the cost of occupation, making our land ungovernable, internationalizing the struggle. But we had moved beyond that strategy. And when that success, when that appearance of defeat made their international allies to dump weapons on them, made international institutions to extend them lines of credit for their crumbling economy, made the sleeping traitors, enablers within us to get up and use sectionalism and regionalism. When all of these were brought to bear, we discovered that the strategy was compromised, and we went back to the table and came up with and re-strategized and came up with our offensive action, stabilization, consolidation. And that build-up finally culminated with the launching of the Akamantos. My fellow Ambazonians, a person who has no idea of the day of his destination will never reach that destination. Because how could he? He doesn't even know the destination. And so our strategy focused on our offensive action, where we deploy our forces in well thought out offensive action aimed at attacking the genocidal forces of La République du Cameroon, who are entrenched in their gendarmerie and paramilitary posts and army barracks. Their checkpoints on the road, their military control, their military controlled civilian administrations, to wipe them out of those areas in offensive action. And once that is done, the stabilization of those areas begin, because we learn our lesson within those first year and a half of the struggle, where all the gains we made right up to the outskirts of Buea were almost completely wiped out, because we lacked stabilization and consolidation. We had not stabilized and consolidated those areas. So that is what is going on today. That we take offensive action, and then we make sure that we stabilize those areas. And stabilizing those areas means stamping out absolutely every means of La République civil control in those areas. Making sure that the tools of stabilization are there. which is a battalion of the army being there, and heavy machinery, machine guns, and RPG that will stop motorized units from coming in. Once we are able that these ammunition are available, once we are sure that all the area entry into that zone has been protected, even from mechanized death squads from La République du Cameroon, once that is done, we know that that area is stabilized. We know that La République will not come and have a skirmish and get into that zone. We know that they come, a full war will occur in that, and most of the time they withdraw, they run away. We get them. And once that is done, once we understand that that area has been stabilized, consolidation comes in, where we have our liberation councils, where the people choose their governors. We have the community school set up, where the children in those areas begin schools under the Ambazonian national flag. We have means of economy, where some of those consolidated areas, the community create roads to attach to other consolidated areas, so that the area is fully consolidated into the emerging Ambazonian state. That is the work that your army is doing. That is the work that sometimes when you get the message of what is going on, that is the work that is going on in the field. Because to get over a look, in most of the areas where the first year of the struggle, we had wiped out all colonial control, we will have to refight in those areas in the next few weeks. We will not want to do that. We want that once we have gone over an area, that area is stabilized and consolidated. So in this 1st October, I can assure our people that the last tranche of our current consolidation will manifest itself. 18 villages across 2 counties that have been consolidated. We will know that that consolidation, the job is finished when on 1st October, those communities in 2 locations, those 18 villages are able to manifest under an Ambazonian flag, protected by the Ambazonian army from morning to night, where competitions, finals of competitions that have been going on under Ambazonia are played, both in handball, both in football, culminating in the community coming out in their thousands without any fear or favor. This 1st October, another 20 villages will be added into, another 18 villages will be added into our zones of consolidated area. My fellow Ambazonians, this is why we must stay the course. This is why it is important that you are not swayed by events that occur day in, day out. Yes, it's the drip, drip, drip that is going to fill the bucket, but it is just a drip. If you remove that bucket and you bring in a new one, you will start that drip again from the bottom, and it will take longer to fill. So the road that we are on is a treacherous and hard road. And it needs you to have a will of steel and the courage of a colossus. That is what will take us to the end. That is what will keep our focus sharp to the end. That is what will make us not change from one to the other, jump from here to there, and compromise our strategy. My fellow Amberlanders, we are coming at this moment. Your defense forces will be coming to the next set of offensive action in order to add to our already consolidated area, to increase the perimeter of our Ambazonian state. We are, in the coming weeks, we will begin those offensive action to increase our perimeter. The past 2 months have seen a tremendous build-up, has seen us consolidated the areas that we had captured at the beginning of the year. On October the 1st, by October the 1st, we will be commissioning 2 new units of the Ambazonian Defense Forces. The Commander-in-Chief unit that will be under the command of the liaison officer, Brigadier Yannick, and the rocket-propelled unit. That is a unit that will be deploying with Ambazonian-made and Ambazonian-manufactured rockets. That is the fruit of stabilizing and consolidation. It allows us to be able to harness the intellectual capacity of our land to deploy in our freedom. That is the independence we seek. That in a sea of enemies, the Ambazonian people are becoming self-sufficient in supplying their army with their own homegrown machinery and weapons. I want to send my congratulations and the thanks of a nation to these newly commissioned officers and to our fighters, all of our fighters in Ambazonia, the liberation fighter. They have taken a tremendous toll on La République du Cameroon. Their actions in the past months have rocked to the bottom the supporters and enablers of the regime. But one thing they must do is they must learn to work together, especially if their goal is one. Then our defense forces, our liberation forces must cooperate and act together. And so all of them, our fighters, must understand one simple fact. Our liberation war, the aim of our liberation war is to free our land from the occupation of La République du Cameroon, the genocide and crimes against humanity they are committing in our communities, and the terrible scorched earth war they have brought on our people. Our aim is to absolutely dismantle and defeat them. This message is to every fighter. So long as you call yourself an Ambazonian fighter, understand this. We are not fighting to bring La République to the negotiating table. The day that they opened fire and killed the first Ambazonian, that was the day that negotiation with them in any form ended. We fight. We fight to the death in order to defeat and free them and free our people from their genocidal grip. You know, an American during their war told the British to give the Americans liberty or give them death. We were never offered the choice. La République gave us death. And that is why we fight. Not to bring them on the negotiating table to defeat them. That must sink in to all of our fighters, left to right, center, and the middle. Our people, combining this strategy that we pivoted from the earlier strategy to the current of action, stabilization, consolidation, hundreds of thousands of our people will be coming out this year as never before to celebrate under a free Ambazonia, under our flag. That is a tremendous gain. And I want to reassure our people that all of them have a part to play in us marking our Independence Day on 1st October. The War Council has been able to define, to classify the areas and match the type of celebration or marking of our Independence Day that can go on in those areas. We have fully consolidated areas where all activities, from sporting activities to our schools to our military, they will put on a full dress rehearsal. They will celebrate, they will march in those communities. All activities approved by the Liberation Councils can go on. You have no fear. We have the second tier of areas, which are those, you can see a color-coded map, although those are mixed so that the enemy doesn't understand. In those dynamic control areas, there will be certain activities will be able to go on. There might not be, in those areas, there might not be military parades because the military will be fully on alert. They will be fully at the outskirts waiting for La République to come around, that they don't disrupt any activities going on in those dynamically controlled areas. And the third trench of areas will be those areas where we have active military action, where our forces will be totally on the field, where our people are encouraged to mark that day, not by coming out to gather with our military or coming to our military bases, because those might be hot areas, but marking those days in any way they can, by floating balloons, by floating the flags, by showing civil disobedience and general Ambazonian nationalism. They are intrinsic Ambazonian nationalism. So those are the three areas. We, their Ambazonian Defense Forces, encourage our people, both at home and everywhere in the diaspora, to use this day as a day to demonstrate our nationalism, to honor those who bore the land with their blood. We do that not by observing ghost towns, which plays directly into the hands of traitors, enablers, and La République du Cameroon. Because having been defeated, La République du Cameroon sells the idea to its people and the world that Ambazonia is under La République control and is just a fringe elements that are creating disturbance. They will not want to see hundreds of thousands of Ambazonians out on the street manifesting under the Ambazonian flag, demonstrating to you and the world the tremendous effort and work and sacrifice that you have made in order that these hundreds of thousands, millions of Ambazonians are able to mark their Independence Day under their flag in the land of their birth, singing their national anthem with their kids. They are the future generation, showing pride in their nation. They will not want that. That is why our people from Washington to Canberra, from Oslo to London, Nigeria to South Africa, all must come out, must be loud, must be proud, must put in front and center of the world the Ambazonian nationalism. We begin this week of independence on the 25th of September with a fundraiser that will hopefully bring out the first products of the Ambazonian rocket propelled unit brigade. I hope to see all of us come out, explain to our people what you will be doing that week getting into 1st October. Those in the diaspora be able to send message of encouragement to the fighters in the field, to tell them that you send them to battle. It is your job to equip them. It is your job to fund them. It is your job to make sure that they have all the tools in their hands to complete the job. That is what, from the 25th of September, this coming Saturday, we gather to kick off the week of our 1st October celebration. And I hope that the forces on the ground hear from all corners of the world that the Ambazonian people are with them and they are not going to leave them in the field barehanded. I wish you an early Independence Day. I cannot be more proud and optimistic about where we are. The consolidation of our land, the increase of the consolidated territories is making me very excited. And the fact that our forces will once more deploy offensively in order to get the next trenches of towns and villages into that Ambazonia that is emerging in the next weeks following our independence is something that we all can not only hope and pray, but make sure that we work towards. May God bless our IDPs. May God bless and protect our captives. May God protect our troops. God bless Ambazonia.
Hail this land of glory, we the Ambazonia Nation loyalty. Praises to our Savior who granted us the freedom. Allegiance to the hero who fought along the gather. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation flowing with earth and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meet in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meet in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.